If you have a child with autism, you have probably heard the name Suramin whispered in online groups, research discussions, or late night searches. It is often described as a drug that once made headlines, then disappeared. Some people talk about it like a breakthrough, others warn it is dangerous. Both reactions exist for a reason. So, what actually is Suramin? And what do real studies say about autism? Suramin is not a new or experimental drug. It was developed over 100 years ago. Its original purpose had nothing to do with autism. It was created to treat African sleeping sickness and later river blindness. These are severe parasitic diseases. Because of how powerful Suramin is, it was never a casual medication. It has always been used carefully under medical supervision in very specific situations. What makes Suramin unusual is how it works. Suramin does not target one symptom or one receptor. It broadly interferes with how cells communicate with each other. Specifically, it blocks a type of signaling that uses ATP outside the cell. ATP is usually known as an energy molecule inside cells, but when it appears outside the cell, it acts as a distress signal. It tells the immune system something is wrong. This idea is important for understanding why Suramin entered autism research at all. Some researchers believe that in a subset of autistic individuals, cells behave as if they are stuck in a danger response. This theory is sometimes called the cell danger response. The idea is not that autism is an infection or an immune disease. It is that early stressors, genetic or environmental, may push cells into a long-term defensive state. When cells stay in that state, communication between neurons, immune cells, and metabolic systems can change. Suramin, in theory, can temporarily interrupt that danger signaling. This is where the autism studies come in. The most cited research involved very small clinical trials. These were not large-scale, multi-year studies. In one early study, a single low dose of Suramin was given to a small group of children with autism. Researchers observed short-term changes in some areas, such as language use, social engagement, and repetitive behaviors. These changes were not dramatic for every child. They were not permanent, and they did not affect core autism traits in a way that would be considered a cure. In fact, the effects faded over time as the drug left the body. That detail matters. Suramin did not rewire the brain. It did not remove autism. It appeared to temporarily shift how cells were communicating. This is why responsible researchers have always been cautious. The studies themselves clearly stated that Suramin was experimental, that the sample sizes were very small, and that long-term safety was unknown in this context. And safety is where the conversation must slow down. Suramin is not benign. It can affect the kidneys. It can affect the adrenal system. It can affect peripheral nerves. It stays in the body for a long time. It requires medical monitoring, even in approved uses. This is not something parents should seek out on their own or attempt to obtain outside of research settings. It is also important to say this clearly. No regulatory agency has approved Suramin as a treatment for autism. Any use outside of a formal clinical trial is not supported by medical guidelines. So why does Suramin still come up? Because it points to something deeper. It suggests that for some autistic individuals, symptoms may be influenced by immune signaling, metabolism, and cellular stress responses. That does not mean autism is caused by those things. It means autism is biologically complex. It involves more than just behavior. Suramin helped researchers ask better questions. How does cellular communication affect development? How does early stress shape long-term signaling in the body? Can temporary changes in metabolism affect how the brain functions? Those questions are valuable, even if Suramin itself is not the answer. For parents, the most important takeaway is this: be cautious of hype. Be cautious of anyone presenting Suramin as a miracle or a hidden cure. That is not what the science says. At the same time, it is reasonable to be interested in what these studies reveal about autism biology. Curiosity is not the same as recklessness. Suramin belongs in laboratories and carefully controlled trials, not in online marketplaces or unsupervised treatment plans. Its story is a reminder that understanding autism requires nuance, patience, and respect for both science and safety. If this topic matters to you, stay informed. Read original studies. Ask what was actually measured. Ask how long effects lasted. Ask about risks, not just benefits. And if this kind of careful, honest discussion is helpful, you are welcome to stay here. You can like the video, subscribe, and share topics you want explored with clarity rather than hype.